December 1st, 2020. I've titled this video Swatting and News. I'm in bed. It's kind of cold right now. And I don't know how long. This might be just 20 minutes. Some guy on Twitter was saying to me, oh, you should get a musket, Wayne, or a gun because people want to hurt you. And, that concerns me that people are trying to murder me. And it's been over a year since the SWATings have started. And one guy did come out to the house they said his intent was to kill me. And law enforcement is crickets. They don't mind coming out here to harass me, but why aren't they arresting Anthony? Like, why did Anthony drive from San Francisco down here and fuck up his car? He was in a mental hold in the hospital for a mental issue. And then he broke out of there. He evaded the police, crashed his car 3 times. Like, the wheels were all fucked up, then bent. And he had a gun in the car. Come on, police. That's very suspicious. Like, if I was a senator, they would go arrest Anthony or at least question him. And what about the people who told him to go shoot up a synagogue? When you have more than one person in a room telling other people to do crimes, that's not normal. Like, those other people in the room with him, would have said, hey, no, that's not a good thing to do, because now they're all accessories to a crime. So there was like 5 people watching Anthony come to my house. Where would 5 people sit in a room and commit a crime? They thought he was going to kill me. So I don't know why the Riverside Sheriff's Department won't do shit. They got a $500 million budget. They have 3,000 employees, but my life doesn't matter to them. I talked to this person who I met a year ago, just recently, for the second time, and he told me that the sheriff department thought that they questioned him. They're like, do you know Wayne? What do you know about him? He was like, oh, he's a smart guy. And the sheriff department said to him that the sheriff thinks that I'm calling in the swatting and the bomb threats myself, which I'm not. So is the sheriff going to ever investigate this crime? Are they? Am I going to end up murdered because of their laziness? I don't have a firearm, but I might have to go buy a shotgun and blow off somebody's head if they come fucking with me. I'll shoot you in the face with buckshot. Hey, Juro Juco. Good morning. So I am worried about criminals and people coming to fuck with me. So I got the money now, and I probably will go buy a shotgun so I can blow somebody's fucking head off if they come to my property to fuck with me. So I think that's very reasonable. I don't want it. Like, I really don't want to waste the money on a gun because I just don't want. I'd rather have a 22 long, and just shoot beer cans with it, or bottles, cans and bottles, or plinking. I'd rather have a 20. If I was to spend the money on a weapon, I'd rather do a 22. But a shotgun is better for home defense. Like, if I have to worry about somebody coming out here to fuck with me, a shotgun holds like five shots. I used to shoot something called skeet and trap, where the targets fly out there and you shoot them in the air. I was really good at it. So I'll totally blow your fucking head off if somebody comes out here to fuck with me. I'm not going to stay peaceful. I'm going to blow their head off. If somebody comes to my house to fuck with me, you're going to get shot. I mean, if they've got a weapon. But Like, how would I look at I live so far away, so there's only one reason why somebody's coming out here, and that's to fuck with me. So I'm also really worried about the sheriff. Like, why isn't the sheriff doing anything? They've never like, I've have 20 emails to them. Not once have they ever said, "We have received your emails. Here's an update, Wayne. Here's a copy of the police report from this swatting, and that swatting." Like, I have a bunch of numbers written down from all the swattings, and, we're up to 26. There could be and there's been more distressed phone calls to them. Um, like, a couple times I was at Walmart and I got a call from the sheriff, "Oh, it's making sure you're okay." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm not at home right now. I'm at Walmart." "Oh, okay. Well, alright, sounds good, Wayne." And, but they didn't really tell me what was going on. And sometimes they couldn't reach me and they didn't come out. So it's been a year. I even warned the sheriff when I first moved here. I was like, "Look it, this will sound crazy, but I'm running for president and I've got a bunch of people on a smear campaign and they swatted me up in San Francisco, and it's probably gonna happen down here." And I bet you they're okay, "Thanks, Wayne." They probably hung up the phone laughing their ass off. "Oh, look at here, boys. We got the president of the future president of the United States living out here in a shed, Mr. Cuckoo Head out here." So I think they don't take it seriously, and so I think they're actually against me. I don't think they believe in me, and I don't think they care about me. I think they probably think I'm, doing drugs or something like that, and I'm just some idiot in the desert, and so that gives them the right to harass me, and this shit has to fucking stop. They need to do an investigation. Yes, I'm freezing. It's 41 degrees in here. I don't know what that is in Celsius. And good morning to law enforcement if you're watching this. Go to my Twitter right now. Some guy tells me that people are intent on hurting me. So, law enforcement, nobody's gonna lose their job if I get murdered. Um, Nobody cares. Like, why did you even become a cop? It's your job as a cop to protect guys like me. Um, and it makes you guys look bad because you can't catch these crank callers. It's just really fucking frustrating. It actually feels like an organized campaign from law enforcement to harass me. Like, sometimes I think about leaving Riverside County, moving because of the harassment from the police. Most of them are pretty polite, and yes, I haven't been killed by the police yet, but I'm so worried because I've seen so many of these police videos of unarmed people being shot multiple times by the police. The 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 famous one is some guy in a hotel in a hallway. He's in his underwear, and the police are like, "Crawl to me, left hand first, and say the Yankee Doodle as you do it." And he didn't sing the Yankee Doodle, so they shot him. He was unarmed. They just settled the lawsuit, like, the family got $8 million, but there's a dead person there. So that's just like this, you know, my faith in the justice system is 0. I got evicted without a summons. I didn't have a day in court during COVID. Like, I paid my rent and I got evicted for paying my rent. My landlord says I started a fire. That's a total lie. He says I turned off the water. That's a total fucking lie. And what's her name? Linda Klein tried to get a restraining order against me because she said to the judge that I turned her water off, which was a total lie. And in court, I asked her, what what did that mean? Was there ever a time when water didn't come out of your tap?" And she said, "No." So she lied to the court about the restraining order. Like, at least she had the honor of not lying to the court, and she admitted in court it was a total lie. And I'm sure Phil put her up to it. It's probably Phil who's behind these calls. Phil ran a clandestine drug laboratory for 3 fucking years. He's an attorney. He went to law school. He loves fucking with the police. He loves cheating. Fucking investigate this guy. Jesus. It's imagine if this shit was happening to you. I've been trying to get my life in order for years, and I nearly had it, and when I received this money and I asked Phil if I had permission to stay there and flip cars, put in a hoist for the cars, "Yeah, Wayne, no problem." Then he changes his mind. He got mad at me when I bought actually the silver car, which was a backup car for him. I mean, I was gonna have it to repair and fix and flip, but I was always gonna have a spare car, so in case Phil's car broke, which it did, and he used my car, a number of times, I would have a backup car for him. So, when I bought the silver Mercedes, "I can't believe you bought a fucking car, Wayne. What is wrong with you, Wayne? You brought another car onto the property. Are you crazy? I've already got too many cars here. They're going to Somebody's gonna call the county, and they're gonna make my life miserable. I've got" and there was, like, maybe 17 or 20 cars on his property. It's 13 fucking acres. My neighbor has 100 cars. So fucking what? There's no law against having vehicles on your property. Now, there are laws against dismantling vehicles and leaking toxic substances onto the earth, such as coolant and oil. None of that's going on. All these cars were assembled, and when you do auto repair at home, you take precautions so nothing gets into the dirt or the soil, like such as a concrete slab. So Phil was being irrational, but he was like so belligerent to me. He put four trash cans, like 32-gallon trash cans of shit on my front door. Sharp wood and with nails. He put 2 trash cans of shit on top of my wagon, 2 trash cans of shit on top of my silver car. I have pictures. That's fucking harassment. And then he sent me a voicemail, "Wayne, if you don't clean this shit up, blah blah blah. I want you outside working every morning by 8 a.m." Like I'm his slave? I fucking paid rent. It's his job to fucking leave me alone. I was abused and bullied by this guy, and I think he's still abusing me. I think he's stalking me online, um, and I think he's probably behind the swattings. He could be the I mean, if I ran a drug business, I wouldn't want people living at my house telling everybody I was running a drug business, so he's gotta be pissed that I'm telling law enforcement about his drug business. When he took the garage back from me, it was so he could get his drug making equipment out of there. And I called the police. I said, "Come over here and take his drug equipment as evidence." And they would not come over. The Sonoma County Sheriff. So then the day he got access to the garage, he took his equipment out. He also stole my Macintosh box that this laptop came in, and that prevents me from getting $1,000 from part because I have part of my injury was if I bought a computer that they would reimburse me $1,000. Well, since I don't have the receipt was in the box. Um, maybe I could have got a receipt from yeah, maybe I can get a receipt from Best Buy. That might work. Because I know the store I bought it at. We have the serial number of the laptop. So maybe I don't lose 1,000 there. But just I'm just tired of this shit. And it's all because I'm running for president? Like, literally, laugh at me. There's no fear in running for president. Phil's fear is that law enforcement would come to his home and discover his drug laboratory. That's what Phil's fear is. I'm a really smart guy. Um, I fixed all of Phil's shit. I fixed his car, and but then he's got the nerve to call me mentally unfit. I'm not the asshole running a clandestine drug laboratory. That's mentally unfit. He put all the neighbors at risk of explosion from the volatile chemicals. It's just, I'm tired of his abuse. And it's just rough, man. I got a hard life right now. And so what pisses me off is that these fuckers in this website at 4chan called Do It Yourself. It's a total smear campaign. They're making all kinds of false statements. And do it yourself is about, do it yourself projects. Well, they're just basically libeling my name in there. I can easily sue 4chan for this. With what money? Like, literally, I have no money. How can I sue 4chan? But this shit, like, I wish the FBI would sue 4chan on my behalf. The 4chan is part of the harassment. The janitors are involved. Like, they banned my name, Wayne Lambright. You can't say Wayne Lambright in a straight text. You can say Wayne or you can say Lambright, but you can't say Wayne Lambright. And so that text will earn you an instant ban, like a 7-day ban. However, you will see my name written in 4chan, politically incorrect, and the people who have that power are janitors, the moderators. So the actual moderators of 4chan are harassing me also. I mean, some might be supporting me, others might be harassing me. I don't know what the fuck is going on. It's a Disney-owned company. Walt Disney owns 25% of 4chan. So this is a good multi-million-dollar lawsuit if I could find an attorney who gave a shit, but I can't. Like, literally laugh at me, just fucking laugh at me. Guy living in the desert in a shack running for president. That's laughable, right? It's very laughable. Um, but if I wasn't in a shack, like, my life was about to go back to being normal, but my life has been ruined. And well, I'm alive. So those are the good things. I'm still alive. I got my health. Um, like I'm in an electric blanket right now from my solar power, my solar panels, that whole system I set up because I'm so stupid. Like, I'm a genius, okay? I got a 137 IQ. There's mostly nothing. There's like literally nothing I can't do. I can learn anything I want. I'm capable of doing anything I want to do, anything I want to build. And I actually love life. I can't get enough of life. Life is exciting for me. It's I'm based even though I don't have a lot of money, I'm basically infinitely rich because I get enjoyment out of nearly everything. Like, I have infinite wealth. I have something money can't buy, which is intelligence and wisdom and tenacity and willingness and fortitude and perseverance. Many people could not be living this bohemian lifestyle. It is like, I call it the Robin Caruso experience. Life is harder out here. It's getting easier, it's getting better. Um, let me talk about some positive things. Like, it's so cold. I'm like, "Ooh, maybe I should build that shack sooner." And this, what is it? Something necessity is the mother of invention. And like, I really need an insulated building. And with an insulated building, I can have one of those little space heaters that's electric, the kind with the oil inside, and, I can use some of that to heat. I'll be able to get it heated, like, either with water from the daytime, like, I could have 5 55-gallon drums of water inside the shed, and it's plumbed during the day, I heat it, and I also heat that water with, an electrical thing from a water heater, electric water heater. I would heat the water during the sunny part of the day. So by when the sun goes down and the solar panels are off, I could have 100-degree water. I could have 5 55-gallon drums of 100-degree water in my insulated living environment. And that would be enough stored thermal mass to last throughout the whole night. Like, I could even wrap the barrels in insulation so they cool down slower. I just love building things like this. And yeah, I'm just thinking, like, so let me tell you, so I wanna build a really proper shed. I want it to be nice and durable and long lasting. However, it is kind of bitterly cold. And I'm thinking of those, they're 2-inch thick, very rigid foam panels. And so what I'm thinking of doing is I've seen it done at Burning Man, where they basically tape them together to build a room. They don't even use lumber. They just use like a very strong duct tape. So you have walls and a roof, and the whole thing is just foam. I might actually do that. That makes a lot of sense to me because 2 reasons. 1, the foam panels can be reused when I build a proper structure. And what I mean by a proper structure is, 2 by 4s, on the walls and headers at the door and joists. And, so that is what I would like to build. And maybe I would end up building that in, like, February. Because it's the temperatures aren't gonna be, down to freezing at night. So then for the next between 'cause it's December 1st, so, the next 60 days are gonna be pretty cold at night, so maybe I just go buy those panels because 'cause they're like $40 each, and, 6 and 2, so I need 10 of them. So that's 4, and then the roof, no, I need 13. So that's $520 in foam panels. And then I build something to affix them all together and make it windproof. And that might be my structure for the next few months. Yeah, I got another option. Like, you see that foam in the cracks up there? That's that squirty insulation foam. Well, you can buy spray foam. And it costs $300. It would cost me $300 to spray foam the whole inside of my shed. And but to get I think I would only get about a half inch of foam. I don't think it's a full inch. And the R value is very small. It's like an R value of 3. So I don't think that's really a viable solution. I mean, I lived last year in the cold and I just find myself not doing much. That's what I'm bitching about is I just and that's what I was complaining about in the summer. It was too hot to do anything, and now it's too cold to do anything except complain. Always seem to have the energy to complain and make excuses. Excuse Pro, excuse.pro is the website I bought. Excuse Pro. I do think the sheriff and I are on, good terms. They call me. If they get a call, they do ring me up on the telephone first, and then, for some reason, my ringer was being turned off automatically. Like, if I reboot my phone, the ringer wasn't on. I had to turn it on. There was some kind of, like, m automatic thing going on, and I was able to turn that off. So that's good. Um, I used to turn off the ringer at night, so no phone calls past, like, a certain hour, and then, that's why they were coming out sometimes. But now I just leave it on all the time. If they don't have to come out here, maybe they could just spend 2 hours investigating what the fuck's got who's making that call. Like, I keep forgetting, but I need to say, "Look it, guys, how about we create a password? If somebody calls and says they're Wayne Lambright, you say, 'What's the secret password that Wayne Lambright set up?' Chocolate chip cookies, right? Let's say that's what it is." And, they'll be like, "Well, if you don't know it, then you're really not Wayne Lambright." And also, they're not calling from my single phone number. So I don't even know why they take these calls seriously. It just well, it's for your protection, Wayne. Imagine if we didn't come out on one of these calls. You didn't, motherfuckers. Like I called you. Somebody was across the hill. Bang, 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 bang. For 3 fucking hours, they were having a shooting orgy. It was just some I don't know who it was, but somebody was on the other side of my hill at 10 o'clock at night in the dark. They're target shooting. Now it's on the other side of the hill, and so I was a little concerned, um, but so I did call the sheriff, and I was like, maybe you could talk to these guys. Like, it's 10 at night. Isn't it's loud. Uh, Nobody lives there. There's no homes on between me and the freeway. I am the only person. So between the freeway and my home, 10 miles away, nobody lives on this side of the road. Zero. Just me. Then they went for a walk on the hill. And this hill it's motherfucking rough. It's got these sharp ass rocks. It like if you fell on one of these rocks, you're gonna get a puncture wound. It's gonna hurt like hell. It's like these are motherfucking sharp rocks. Um, it was at least two guys, could have been 3 guys. Yeah, but, it could have just been kids. That's what, people do is just go to the desert and camp out at night and and do a lot of shooting and drinking. Then they were shooting in the morning. My point is the sheriff would not come out. I called them, they're like, "Well, they're, I said they're about 2,000 feet away, and they said, "Well, the law is 1,000 feet. You can't be shooting 1,000 feet within another home. So since they're not breaking the law, they can't do anything." Well, it's not their own property. Like literally, they were trespassing on that's property owned by the county of Riverside. And so they're not allowed to camp on it. So they could have came out under that because it's not their property. They don't own it. But still, the sheriff would not come out. So it's so foreign to me. Like, I thought I knew the law and I just don't. Like, I just pray that, I just hope they catch these fuckers and it stops. But it's ruining my relation. Well, it ruined my relationship with the ex-girlfriend. Uh, my other relationships are okay. I mean, I don't think it strengthened the relationship with my brother. Um, oh, Bo. Uh, I guess I want to switch topics so that's enough about my personal life. I'm going to switch over to the news. So Elon Musk met with Tim Cook, the crook from Apple. Tim Cook replaced Steve Jobs when Steve Jobs died of AIDS, if you don't know. Um, so and China uses lots of slave labor like Apple could make those phones here. They don't have to make them in China. Um, but the good news is that Apple confirmed with Musk that they're not gonna remove Twitter from the App Store, which is great. And don't wake a sleeping dog because, like, I don't know if you remember, but even last summer I was saying that Elon should create his own phone and his own app store because Google and Twitter could kick him out. And then, I did some videos on this a few weeks ago, and now the whole world, not the whole world, but our little world in 4chan, a lot of people were talking about, Elon Musk making a phone. So it's nice to see this idea growing. And I was I planted the seed that Elon should start his own computer company. He really should. He's got enough clout. He could say, "Hey, Samsung, um, let's build a high quality product using Linux." Boom, done. And a smartphone is really just a handheld computer with a radio. So it's not complicated technology. I even think Android is open source. And if it's not open source, uh, I think you could install Linux on a smartphone and write some code to do the telephone part. This would be beautiful for the world because then it would be open sourced mobile phone operating system. Then people would know that there isn't any malicious code spying on citizens. Like, did I just invent the secure phone? I might have. Like, this is a damn good idea. Um, so I think Elon Musk should pursue something like this, and he could make a competitive electronics company like Apple, who is, their laptops, their desktops, their tablets, their smartphones, their watches. They're getting into the television business, and they also tried to get into the car business. So they're trying to, like, Apple should try to acquire Tesla. If Apple had any balls, they would do a hostile takeover of Tesla. They got the money to do it. They could just buy all the Tesla stock. Boom, it's theirs. Hostile takeover. The European Commission was telling Elon Musk, well, there needs to be basically oversight and moderation of Twitter in Europe, at least. Let me read the tweet that I tweeted to this jackass. I tweeted to the European Commissioner earlier, about an hour ago. I think you fear free speech because of the crimes being committed by you and your gang. If people say something you disagree with and they're wrong, no big deal. It's that they're right. And that's what you fear. You fear the truth coming out, the truth of your crimes. And his name is Terry Brenton. And Terry Brenton says, I welcome Elon Musk's internet to get Twitter 2.0 ready for the DSA. Huge work ahead still, as Twitter will have to implement transparent user policies, significantly reinforce content moderation, and tackle disinformation. Look forward to seeing progress in all these areas. So basically, the European Union doesn't like free speech. Um, and I'm not sure if they have a law of free speech. Like Britain, there is no free speech. I think only the USA has free speech like we do. Um, and without free speech, it's all over. So free speech is the home guard against tyranny. If you lose free speech, it's the gateway to tyranny, instant tyranny. And so, Europe has already had problems of tyranny. They had uh, Mussolini, who created a fascist dictatorship, of course, Hitler, and I think Franco in Spain. After World War One, Spain became fascist for a period of time. Franco was his name. And so they've had three fascist governments, and they're trying to implement fascism by controlling what people say. Like literally, when people say something, it's a conversation. And conversations sometimes happen, and not everybody's going to be happy about it. Like you get bad grades in school, you're a child, your parents are going to have a conversation with you about your bad grades, and the child isn't going to like it. However, it's a necessary conversation. Like maybe the parents are like, "Why'd you get bad grades?" "Well, I can't read." "What do you mean you can't read?" "I can't see the text." "Why not?" "It's all blurry." "Oh shit, my kid blind. I got to get my kid glasses." You get the kid glasses, and then his scores go up because he can read. That was one of my problems as a kid. Um, I couldn't see things, so I started wearing glasses when I was 10. Um, so conversations are how things get resolved. Things don't get resolved when you bully people. And so that's what the European Union's trying to do to Elon Musk. And you know what? I'm very much isolationism, so fuck Europe. Uh, in a funny tweet, I said Elon Musk should block you to the European Union commissioner. That would make him furious. Uh, free speech will win. The truth is going to win this battle of global suppression. This new world order isn't going to happen without violence. They're going to need to use violence to bring about a new world order because people don't want to be controlled by one group of people on the other side of the world. It will never work. People want to be controlled locally, and people want to have a hand in how they're governed. So instead of big nations around the world, it should be nothing but smaller nations. Like, I actually think maybe the United States should be broken up and states should become autonomous in their own nations because, like, I'm in California and Washington, D.C. is 3,000 miles away. Maybe I want to protest something, but I don't have the money to fly there. I don't have the money to rent a hotel and go march on Washington. That's ridiculous. Um, so we're not, America is a nation of repre we have a well, we're a constitutional republic. We're not a democracy. We elect representatives to represent us in our constitutional democracy. And, some people don't like this, some do. Let me tell you, a quote from Plato, and I said this yesterday, but I'll say it again, and because I think it's really apropos. He says, "Pretend you want to go on a sailing ship, the kind with sails, and you want to go into the ocean. Do you want to hire people who are experts at sailing, people who are like licensed, like a licensed captain, or do you want to hire just anybody off the street, the public?" And so that's that analogy. You're going to want to hire the professionals, by the way. Um, this analogy applies to government. So this is why the electoral college is good. They're elder statesmen, and like in an election, I could get 1% of the vote across America, and the competitors could have all the rest of the votes. and they could say, you know what, Wayne's going to be president, and the people would be like, that's not fair. Tough shit. That's the Electoral College. There's no legal obligation for them to choose the president based on what votes were counted. The votes counted is just a suggestion of how the Electoral College could go. It's, they're like, oh, the people really like this person. We haven't paid attention to them. Look at all their numbers. And people might say, look at a guy like Wayne only got 1%, but look what he did. Look at his ideas. We really love this guy. I think he'll be a great president. Let's give him a try. Because at the end of the day, the president of the United States is really just a deal maker and a peacemaker and a dream maker. Somebody who puts out ideas, and then it's up to the House of Representatives and the Senate to approve these ideas. So, yeah, I'm hopeful for America. Yeah. After this next election, I probably am giving up on politics. I mean, I might go for a House of Representatives or Senate or something like that, but I think, I'm getting old. I don't have any money for retirement, and I want to live as long as possible, and that's not going to be for poor people. So I've got to find a way to make some money so I can live longer. And I've got plenty of good ideas. Many of my ideas will be good money makers. And eventually I'll get out of the jam that I'm in. And it's hard. I'm very optimistic. When you get old, they say, like, if you break your leg or your hip, that can sometimes, people past the age of 80, if they get a broken hip or something, it decreases their, like, they could die in 6 months kind of thing. Losing your teeth, people who lose their teeth die 10 years sooner, because they can't get the nutrition out of their food by crushing it in their jaws. So there's a lot of little things to keep you that can cut your life short. So, as you get older, you got to be safer. You can't be doing risky things. And I'm at an age where technology could change in a moment. Like the cure for cancer could come up next week. I think the cure for cancer is Rife treatments, by the way. And the cure for immortality could be on a UFO. Like the aliens could land and make a treaty with us, and they're like, okay, here's how you live forever. Drink water with gold in it. So it really could be one day away. You just don't know when it's going to happen. This gravity control is so important to the world. It's just as transformative as the airplane or the internet. And it also, I actually think it does unlock the ability to do stargates. I know that sounds crazy, and I wouldn't say this unless it's only because I heard of the madman Markham, the guy who made the Jacob's ladder and things disappeared. He jumped into it and jumped 2 years into the future. He went from Missouri and landed in Ohio. 2 years. To him, it felt like a second. So, like, what the fuck? That's weird. And then there's, you got to listen to this story called the Montauk Project. Project Montauk, which is the continuation of the Philadelphia experiment, which was originally called Project Rainbow. And Project Rainbow, Philadelphia experiment, was to make ships invisible to magnetic German mines. Nikola Tesla built all the gear. So, I mean, I think some of us here are Nikola Tesla fans. And hold on. There we are. Coming back to my screen. It's really fascinating, what they did. So I don't know why companies aren't like Hitachi or Philips or General Electric, why aren't they trying to build a Stargate? Maybe they have, right? And they can't tell us. I'm tired of this top secret world where they can't tell us things. It's not reasonable. It makes us like information that would alleviate pain and suffering and make the world a better place, and they choose not to use it. Like that sounds pretty insane to me. It's like the insulin. I think like insulin in Canada is 20 bucks or something, but in America it's 300, and it's just because of profit taking. So it would be nice to have a world where we're not always making profit off the poor people. It'd be nice if there was a surplus of empty homes so nobody was homeless. Like I'm not homeless. I got a shed, but it's like it stifles my innovation. Like if I had a normal living environment, I could be working on my gravity. I could be doing things. But like I just have enough energy to make excuses. That's where I'm at. At least I'm being honest about it. I make a lot of excuses. Um, I'm going to rearrange the shed. I'm going to point the bed this way so I can get access to my desk over there. And that way I can use my big monitor during the day and get more stuff done. I'm going to set up a website. Um, I'm going to set up my How to Get Rich website. And I'm going to buy some software. I think it's called Dolphin. And Dolphin is like Facebook. It operates like Facebook does, where you can have groups and communities and friends and shit. And Dolphin, I haven't looked at it for 2 years, but 2 years ago it was like 6 years old. So it's probably even more robust today. I bet they even have an iPhone app and Android app. So my goal is to grow How to Get Rich to 1 million people. And once I get to 1 million people, I'm sure somebody's going to buy it from me. I'm asking 26 million for it right now. And then when somebody buys it from me, I'm going to give 1 million. I'm going to give away $2 million. I'm going to give 1 million away randomly. Well, actually, I'm going to increase it. I'm going to give away $3 million, 1 million to one person who is randomly chosen out of the users. You know, I'll just pick a random. I'll write a computer code to pick a random number between 1 and 1 million, and we'll pick a number like 752,000 and 3. And who is that person? And so then they'll get 1 million. And then the people who invite people, for every person they've invited, like one person could invite 100,000 people. So they would have 100,000 chances at winning that $1 million. So their chances are 1 in 10, basically. And so they would get 1 million. And then I'm going to do I'm going to take $1 million, the third million. I'm going to turn it into chunks of like $1,000. So that would be 10,000 people. Let me make sure that's right. I think that's right. No, 1 million is 10,000 thousand. Hold on. There's 100 there. $100 times 10. Yeah. Is that right? 100. 1,000. No, it's 1,000,000. So 1,000 people will get $1,000 and they will be randomly chosen. So that's a nice giveaway to joining my free site, howtogetrich.com. So I think just that alone would be create a viral sensation to join my site where we have conversations about making money. And I'll be able to, it'll maybe I'll have a place that's like Biz on 4chan, BIZ, and I've run Tiny Chan software before, and, so in addition to Dolphin, I'll have a section like Biz where you can go in there and post all the shit you want. Just just have a fucking total free for all. And then, when you're not in the total free for all and you wanna be part of a community, then you use the Dolphin software. So I think that would work, and, I'll have some donation buttons, and people will probably donate some money to me. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to get that done in 2 weeks. I think that's enough time. I haven't built a website in 2 or 3 years. I gotta find a hosting provider that will do I think many of them do PHP, um, and I like the ones that have a like I was at GoDaddy. I knew how GoDaddy worked, but I used to use WordPress for my blog stuff, but, uh, you can do a lot with WordPress. I'm not sure if there's anything better than WordPress today. Um, my goal is I don't wanna be writing any code. Like, sometimes, I wrote a bunch of code for TinyChan, to customize it for my needs, and, I don't wanna do that this time. I just want an out of the box solution. Well, I think that's about all I wanted to say. It's time to read the comments. Well, there's a lot of comments. Juro Juco, Taki, Scott Main 321, Mr. Anon 73, Jack Trowbridge. We're reading all the names first. And Ring Wrath, Jack Scott Main 321, Fallout 76, Food Dip Fan, Scout. Oh, I gotta reset Scout. Okay, and Nix 033. All right, so I'm gonna go to the top. Hey Wayne, please stay peaceful. Yeah, no problem. Are you freezing? Well, I'm warm, but it's very cold in here. Like my hands are icy cold right now. But I'm on a full-size bed with a big sleeping bag on the bottom. So I'm on top of a sleeping bag and I'm on top of another blanket. And then I got my down sleeping bag. My feet are in that right now, but it's covered me like a blanket. And then the electric blanket's on top of the sleeping bag. And then there's 2 more blankets on top of the electric blanket to hold in that heat. Uh, yeah, I'm California born. Taki says autobiography win. That's a really good idea. I could start doing that. It's like sculpting. It's just a couple pages every day kind of thing. Yeah, I think I could start doing an autobiography. That's a really good idea. Thank you. I think I'll start drafting that. S- the chapters are just going to be one chapter for every year of my life, and that will be an easy way for me to funnel in the events, and then they'll be in chronological order. Thanks, Taiki. That's a great idea. What are your thoughts on video games? Well, I did play video games in the 80s on the Atari 8200, and I had Pong when I was a kid, and at the arcades where I used to play a lot of pinball. Um, and I played pinball at the bowling alley when my grandparents went bowling. My grandpa would give us money to go play pinball. Um, Asteroids was the first video game that came out that I really enjoyed. Well, actually, Pong was first, but then Asteroids was pretty fun, black and white game. Battle Zone was pretty fun to play. I didn't like Pac-Man. I liked a game that when you played this way and you had to jump over things and swing on a rope over some water. I really enjoyed, video games as a kid. Yeah. I'm not into I haven't played video game. And then I had Doom. I think Doom was one of the first shooter games. I had that, played it like 10 times, and that was in the early 90s. And then in 2000, my brother got an Xbox, and he had a racing game and a surfing game. I played that a few times, like just literally over a 2-hour period, and I never played it again. And then I played the Wii, when you have the controller, like Wii bowling. That's actually a real hoot. Like, I could really enjoy that right now. That might be good for exercise for me also. That's not a bad idea. Um, but video games aren't really a part of my life because my passions, and I like building things. Like, I could be into building video games. I mean, it's a great way to make money. Um, uh, yeah, I'm still just not that driven. Like, I only do things that I have a huge passion for, like things that I just can't, where I'm obsessed. I've got to be obsessed with something for me to be passionate about it. Like I was telling my mom on Sunday, I don't see myself as becoming a motorcycle enthusiast, like riding a motorcycle on the street because it's cold. I was telling her about, well, she was saying she gets cold when she goes to dialysis. She goes to dialysis 3 times a week because her COVID shot blew out her kidneys. Um, and she gets cold. And I said, well, you should wear some ski pants and get some heated motorcycle gloves. And they won't let her use electricity there. Like, I mean, the first thing I said was, well, you should bring an electric blanket and put it on top of you, and so you can be warm while you're getting your dialysis. And she said, no, they won't let her plug it in. They won't let her use the electricity at the place. I'm like, that's bullshit. Fuck those people. But like, I guess I should make my mom a backpack with an inverter in it and some lithium batteries, and enough batteries where it could run an electric blanket for her while she's at dialysis. And if that's the case, that nobody else can, uh, DaVita is the name of the place. If that's their policy, then I bet you a lot of other people would buy this product from me. Basically, a mobile electric blanket with like a little lunchbox of batteries and an inverter in there to run it. Because being cold is never fun. Um, so there's another product idea. Anyways, I was telling my mom about the motorcycles. Like, they have heated gloves because they get so cold, and heated grips. I'm like, I don't want to be freezing my ass off riding a motorcycle. That doesn't sound fun. Um, However, I did used to ride snowmobile in the snow, and you're not cold because you're moving around. So I got to try it first before I dismiss it. It's also really dangerous. People don't see you on the motorcycle. So, yeah. If I had land, I'd let you live here for free. Oh, thanks, Juro. The swatting comes from 4chan Discord. Uh, well, actually, the swatting comes from people. So, find a sponsor that will help you get funded. Find a sponsor that will help you funding your president campaign, Wayne. Well, I do have somebody who will be my campaign manager. He's in my Discord, and I haven't been organized enough recently to start doing that. We'll get there. Yeah, I guess I should get working on that sooner because that would mean money for me. I have to use the money that I raised for the campaign, but the campaign needs an office, and we could build an office here on my property. So there we are. As I said back in 2016, Wayne Lambright, the people's choice. Oh, thank you. That's very nice. Open your own image board. Well, Tyke, that's a good idea. I did that actually in the past, and it didn't work out. I had cannabischan.com, and I had howtogetrich.com was on I had that running on Tiny Chan. Didn't work. It got flooded. People spammed it with, all kinds of horrible images. Some people wanted to be moderators, which were probably the people spamming it. So I wasn't willing to have moderators at that time, and that was my fatal error. I should have let those guys be moderators, because then they would have stopped spamming it, and it probably would have taken off. The guys spamming it are like the mafia. So if you're not willing to work with the mafia, then they're just going to destroy your shit. It's a good idea, Trikey. Mr. Non 73. Hey Wayne, I met an inspiring dude once who made a greenhouse using river rock and mud mortar cement to bond with the old windows and house door embedded. I think plastic film roof. Well, a greenhouse wouldn't work in the summer here because it gets to be 100 and okay, so from June till September, every day's 100. And I think that's just too hot for plants. I don't know. I love tomatoes, but since I don't have a constant water supply, I have to bring in my water. So I'm not willing to start a garden yet until I have a constant water. Now, I think the well is full right now of water because it rained a little bit. Because the other people who lived here before got their water from this well that's about 1,000 foot away. So I did check the well for water in April, but there was none left. So maybe there's water there now, and it probably just dries up in this midsummer. So I just got to store enough water. I need to build a cistern. And recently I was looking at waterproof concrete, and they call it hydraulic concrete, which is waterproof. Like the Romans invented that, and I think they put lava ash in it, pumice. So I got to build my own cistern, and it's got to have like a roof where it doesn't evaporate. It doesn't get so hot that it evaporates out. Good idea. It's a great idea. Like, I could basically collect a lot of old windows off Craigslist. They're there all the time. Like, anytime I want to drive to town, there's always free windows. Like, there's a big piece of glass there right now, like a 5 foot by 5 foot piece of glass. And I want that for my shed because that would make a nice window. It was a tabletop, so it'd be like 10 millimeter glass. All right. Oh, Churro Juco knew that I actually had an image for you. Jack says, Wayne, you're so smart. Thanks, Jack. I mean, that's a nice compliment. It really is. And I believe when you're smart, you should share your knowledge with others. That's what I try to do with you guys, is share everything with you. Not for money either, give it away. Scout Main 321. Can you use the forces like in Star Wars? Well, what are so I think the forces in Star Wars are intuition and telepathy. But Obi-Wan Kenobi, he also had brainwashing. So I don't think there's brainwashing ability, but telepathy is a real thing. And that's what remote viewing is, where you're using your ability to psychically tap into any location on Earth. I know that sounds like incredible bullshit. However, let's talk about this for a little bit. Imagine the Earth and even outer space is a grid structure. Everything is an X and a Y location, and every like little square inch of space anywhere in the galaxy has an address. Like a website have IP addresses. Well, imagine every square has its own unique IP address. So, in the field of remote viewing, I studied remote viewing and I'd had one experience and but I haven't practiced on it since. You got to do a 20-minute meditation. I think you actually have to just say stuff like om, om for 20 minutes to clear your mind. And then you have the target. And that target is the address of the thing you're going to look at. And so either these remote viewers are seeing things or it's all lies. We're not going to know until you get to do it yourself. But I do think they're actually seeing real things. Um, like they remote viewed Antarctica and under the ice is a UFO, and that the Germans are there today messing with it, and they got tents. So if you think about a friend from high school, like I can think about a guy named Danny. I used to play water polo with him. I was on high school water polo team, and I haven't thought of him or Trevor. I played uh, water polo with Trevor. I haven't thought of them for 25 years. Maybe in the next few days they'll hit me up on Facebook. Like that's how telepathy works. Is like um, our thoughts are radio signals, and that those little square addressable parts in space are also bookshelves for everything that happened at that location. And when we do remote viewing, we're going to that location in outer space or on Earth, because Earth is in outer space, and we're looking at the bookshelf, which is the history book of that little piece of outer space. And since the whole universe is electric and it doesn't move, each space is addressable. So if you went halfway to the moon and you farted, and well, if you put that as a target, a remote viewer could say, it smells terrible and I heard a noise, because that little square piece of space is like our memory. It's like a video machine, and it has the ability to smell and taste, and then it stores it on the bookshelf in that addressable piece of space. Let's talk about when you go to a place you haven't been in years. Could be your family, it could be an old place you lived, your home, your school. All these memories come flooding back to you. Maybe it's because the memory is in that little addressable piece of space, but it's like a little radio, like, "Oh, Wayne used to ride the bike here. Wayne kissed a girl here." And since you're closer to it, your brain picks up those electrical signals because you're close to where it was. Um, like in the world of psychics, so they'll bring a psychic to a murder scene. They'll be like, "Oh, I'm getting a flash. He had on a red scarf." Well, maybe that's what's going on, is like the your surroundings are nothing more than a bookshelf of things that happened at that location. That was quite a tunnel, a rabbit hole we just went down there. Wayne, if you're so smart, then why do you live in the desert and are a brokey? Well, I own my own land and I'm rebuilding my life. Oh, you're publishing my address there, Jack? I'm gonna ban you for that, fucker. Jack is a jackass. You're removed. I'm banning you. Same guy also dug 12-foot deep well, all this using nothing but a wheelbarrow. Well, the well here is 140 feet down. I measured it. A lot of time, calories, electrolytes granted. created Roman-style irrigation system from the rising groundwater. That's beautiful, Mr. Anon 73. Scott Maine sent me a hand. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, I did an IQ test and I got a 137. That was the last time I did one. Check Talmadge. His IQ is above 120. The potential problem with high intelligence people is that intelligence and craziness very close to one another. Like what? So I'm not crazy, but I can see why people call me crazy, and I'm unwilling to live the conventional slave life. Okay? It's much more painful for me to live like a slave. So I had financial freedom starting in 1999 when I quit working at Land Rover and I started my own software business. And for 16 years, I didn't work for anybody else. Like that job I had at Safeway for 2 months was the first job I had in 16 years. And what do people at a job know that a financially wealthy person knows? Not enough. People work jobs because they don't know enough to get out of that job. So I would rather be independent and be self-employed than to be a slave. So I will be able to make money flipping cars and flipping motorcycles. Yeah, I don't need an expensive lifestyle. I've already lived that life. I've already been rich. I've already I've been to Europe 7 or 9 times. Um, I've driven all the cars most of the cars that I wanna drive. I drove a Ferrari Testarossa, like an '89. That was fun, and, I've driven Bentleys. I had a S600 V12 twin turbo Mercedes that I owned. I've had nice experiences. I've gone on nice vacations, and maybe more or in the future, but I don't need them. I enjoy being at home. I enjoy nature. I enjoy meditation. I just enjoy uh, learning new things, trying to solve riddles and puzzles. Like, I guess I need to create a good workspace so I can start working on the anti-gravity thing. I'm 100% confident I'll get it working. Um, if somebody else can do it, you can do it. I guess you guys just don't believe somebody else has done it. I've already shown you a working example. Um, I've never seen a UFO, but I did see something flying in some guy's living room that looked like an erector set, and he had a Tesla coil, and I know what's going on. That was enough of a clue for me to figure out what gravity actually is, which is electromagnetism. It's the iron core of the earth is not molten, it's solid iron, and we're inducing electricity from the sun, which is also an electrical discharge. So the sun is shitting out but bucket loads of electricity. But we're not taught this. We don't see it this way. Except you're going to know it to be true right now that light is electric magnetic radiation. That's what light is, electric magnetic radiation. So we're living on an electric magnet. That's all. But when we make electric magnets, we make it with low voltage. And you need an electric magnet with high voltage. And this was discovered by Thomas Townsend Brown, who died in 72. I think he was, when was he born? He was born in like maybe 1890. He was unplugging transformers. He was unplugging high voltage transformers in his laboratory, and they would jump. And so what that is called that's called flyback voltage. Um, it's like when you have the garden hose full of water and you turn it off, there's still water coming out of it. Same thing with the flyback voltage. And so the flyback voltage reversed direction, which created a big magnetic field, and the transformer would jump off the floor in his laboratory. So then he did some more experiments, and then the U.S. Navy hired him, and all of it went top secret after that. Yeah. All right. Mr. Non, what about erect a building, then building up sides and the top with dirt rocks like a hobbit house? Well, you base I don't so you need water for that. So it's a good idea, an Adobe style house. Um, I don't want to go collect the rocks. There are plenty of rocks here. What I really need is a golf cart. That's what I could use here, is like a golf cart that I could charge with a golf cart with off-road tires. That's a great idea. Maybe I'll look for a free golf cart, and I'll put off-road tires on it, and I could use that to go scoot around the neighborhood here and pick up the rocks and get a bunch of rocks. And I'll build, like you said, I'll build a stone building. That's a great idea. Thank you. Um, Let me just say, like, I think I have a half acre. I think it's a half acre. No, it's a whole acre. I can't remember right now. No, maybe I can't think. Whatever. 208. Huh. It's a half acre. Okay, I got a half acre, which is pretty big. It's 208 feet and 150 or 100 feet wide, so half acre. I intend on putting all kinds of little structures on this place, um, that don't need a building permit, like little cabins, like just with a door and a few windows and like a bed in there, so I can have friends over and they got a place to sleep. And I intend to put a swimming pool in. I would love to build a lap pool. That's going to cost me about $10,000 probably. Um, and I don't see that happening anytime soon unless I come into a bunch of money. That's why the How to Get Rich website probably would earn me that money that I'm looking for. So, all in time, I absolutely love this place. I'm in love with the desert. And this view out here will never change because that's a federal park. And for the people who don't live in America, federal means that the government owns it and they're nature preserves. So I live in front of a nature preserve in a motherfucking hot place. The heat is one of the things that keeps people from wanting to live here. And also, I'm 60 miles from the nearest food. So it's just like, it's so inhospitable that makes it a paradise. I know this is really backwards thinking, but this works for me. And in life, you got to do what works for you. This works for me. Um, these people call me crazy, right? So that's okay. I think it's crazy to live in New York City. Beep, 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 beep. All that noise. I can't take it. I just fuck that. I don't want to live and all the violence. Take the subway. You don't know if you're going to get stabbed to death. That's fucking insanity. If anything bad happens to me, first of all, I got 2 feet. I can run. So I can call the sheriff, and the sheriff is at both ends of the street. So it would take somebody 1 hour to get away from this place, and they'll be able to catch them. I'll be like, they're in a red car, and I know cars very well, so I would be able to identify the car of the person coming out here to hurt me, and the sheriff would catch them because there's only 2 ways out of where I live. So they'd be caught. So I'm not worried. Um, so it's very nice out here. I do like the forest. Forests have bears and mountain lions, so there's a little bit of danger there, but there's really not any. The dangerous critters out here are rattlesnakes, I guess. So why don't you install a live cam on the shed? Well, bandwidth. I can't afford the satellite link from Elon Musk yet. But that's a good idea. Thank you. Yeah, I got a surveillance system. I have enough electricity now. I should get that running. Ringrast says he's an apprentice of Phil Timon, and I have informants in Safeway. I bet you do. Somebody says, "Do you reckon the FBI is involved?" Well, has the FBI ever harassed American citizens? Yes. So I don't know. Did you watch the Neuralink presentation? Nope. Scott says, game over. Google is forced to have Android kernel open source because of the GPL license. Ooh, that's good to know. So that means Elon Musk could just make his own phone company. He could start selling a phone, use Android on it, and he could start his own software store. That's good to know. Android is a modification of Linux for low-spec Chinese chips. Oh, that's good to know. Juro says Jack can't read the chat now because it's his current schizo phrase right now. Well, I banned Jack because he published my address. Phil Timon hired someone to fire off those shots. Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Wayne, have you ever thought about working at Walmart just to get back at Safeway? Nope. I'm not going to work another job. All right. Like running for president, that's a job. Elon will need his own payment processor next. Yep. Well, Bitcoin and the Lightning Network will do that. So Bitcoin is not going away anytime soon. Scout has a kitty cat. That's cute. And then Jerko has a red jelly bean. Food Dip, Merry Christmas, Wayne. Thank you, Food Dip. I was thinking the other day about Jesus is Sky Daddy, right? Like if I said I have an imaginary friend and he lives on my shoulder, you'd be like, Wayne's crackers. He's gone crackers. Hello, imaginary friend. How are you today? I'm doing good, Wayne. That's crackers. Here's what's not crackers. Jesus is on my shoulder protecting me. Hey, Jesus, God bless you. And that's not crackers, but it is. So Jesus is your imaginary friend. So having a sky daddy, a God in the sky, that's just as crackers. Would God want Christians and Jews fighting against each other? No, of course not, because God would be loving and benevolent. I do think there's some kind of supreme intelligence of the universe. Yeah. I don't think they care. I just don't think that supreme intelligence cares about us to be observing us at all times. I think they're software programmers, and they wrote this software and they just let it out there and it just lives, and it's going to do things. So, I got to study the Greeks because I had a suspicion the Greeks were extraterrestrials, and it turns out they are. Because, like, how do they pull all these badass buildings out of their ass way long ago? And then they had all this rich culture, this language, and these theaters, and that was stuff that they brought with themselves from their other civilization. Like, I think they were crashed here. I think they were marooned on Earth, and it was like a cruise ship of architects and artists, but no electrical engineers because they couldn't call home to get back home. So they had to make the best of it. That would make a really good sci-fi movie, wouldn't it? The crashed Greeks. Scout says water. Mr. Non, have an exoskeleton suit would be cool. It'd make digging up and lugging around rocks easier. Take away the negative of being old. Yeah, well, I could start gathering rocks with I got a wheelbarrow, and I could just go straight out back, and there's plenty of rocks over there, and just bring them home that way. I do need I'm turning into a fat ass, so I do need exercise, but uh I'm not going to do that. Not yet. I think the smartest thing for me to do is like today I bought some welding rods, and I might try to do welding today with my car batteries. And yesterday I had the idea of me hooking up those new solar panels. I might be able to do welding with that because that's 50 volts. And I got, if there's 6 amps, shit, I'd have 60 amps at 50 volts. That's a lot of fucking power. I think I could just weld right off that. And so I think the answer is welding an exoskeleton structure with rebar and then wrapping it with stucco. So chicken wire with paper backing, and then you apply concrete paste to it. It looks like mud. And there it's a big thing here in California called stucco. It's concrete. And you build up like a quarter-inch layer of concrete on this chicken wire, and that becomes the hard outer shell. There was even a guy in the 60s he made homes where he inflated a ball, a curved surface, like two or three of them together. They inflate the ball, and then they had a machine that blew the stucco. So it was a concrete pump, but it blew it out, and they just covered the ball in concrete, let it dry, and then when it was dry, they deflated the bladder, and then they had a perfect structure. A dome made of concrete. No rebar. Not needed. Stargate was a good movie and TV show. Yeah, I only saw the movie. The movie was really good. Nick says, "Sup, Scout Wayne? I am getting a reset. Why am I getting a reset? I don't know. Get a gamer PC and play Total War.